Hello, everybody. It has been a long 9 months, almost a year, I believe, somewhere in between there, since I've made a video. I've been gone for a while due to reasons that we won't waste video time on, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into the fifth part of our CMS tutorial series. This part is focused entirely on the posting aspect of the website. We're going to work on the adding, editing, and deletion of posts and content for the website, and we'll set the primer for future parts of the series. So without further ado, we're going to hop back into our browser and see where we left off. I believe we were at our categories. We can edit, delete, and add categories now, and we have two categories sitting here in general and tutorials. We are going to basically merge that functionality with our post section of the website now, and we're going to hop into our code editor right here in the admin section of our website, and we're going to start here. So essentially we're just going to hop into our posts.php file, and we're going to add the link for adding a post. So we will go to our categories page as well and just copy that line and change it to add a post, and we'll change it from addcat.php to addpost.php. We'll save that, and if we hop over to our browser, we now have this add a post feature. Right now it takes us nowhere because the page doesn't exist, but we are going to fix that promptly. So we're going to open our add category page, which is add cat up here. And we're just going to copy it and right click on our admin section, or make a new file. We'll call this addpost.php. Paste this in, change that to doaddpost.php for the action, because we're going to have a page called doaddpost.php that's going to process all of this information we're about to throw in. And we're just going to go through and change all these miscellaneous things to fit the situation. Post name, post description, post description, post name, make a new line. Actually, no, there's not even going to be a post number. We'll change this to post author, because there is no description for the post. It's just we'll have a content variable. So we've got a post author, post name. We're going to create a box for post title, label for equals, or not post title, sorry, post content. And we'll call this content right there. Close our label. Open a new TD. And we will create a text area for the post content. We'll give it a name of post content text area. And there's all that. And we have our submit and whatnot. And if we refresh our page here and we go to add a post, you'll see we have this neat add a post form. We'll have a post title, a post author, and a post content. So now we just need to hook up the page that does all of the adding of the post itself. So we're going to mimic the doadd page. So we're just going to copy this and create a new page for doadd post. And post that back in there. We're going to include our functions. We're going to see if the post submit is set. We're going to check if, basically we're just doing the validation now. We're going to check that all of the required fields are set. So we're checking for the post author, post, our post name, our post content itself, all that stuff. So we are going to add an additional if statement in here to check if the post content is set. Post content is set. And I believe that is everything, yes. We'll indent this. We'll say it otherwise. Return, please enter some content. And we'll go down here, say set post name. And we'll go up to, yes, post name, post content. Perfect. And we will basically pass all of these fields in to a function called doAddPost, or addPost. And we're going to add a post content onto the end here. And we'll change addCat to addPost. And once it performs that, we'll redirect to our posts.php page. And we're all good to go. I haven't added any verification for post author yet because we're going to cover that in the next part where we add dynamic authoring. So we're just going to allow a blank author for the time being. So we have that. And we're going to open our functions.php page, and we're going to find our add category method. There it is. And we'll go down to our posts right here, right above delete post, and we will just call this add post, and we'll call it post name, post author, and post content. So we'll insert into posts. We'll put oops, not category, not all caps. Insert into posts. We're going to pass it null for the ID, so it automatically adds that. We will add a we will change this to post name, post author, and post content. I believe that's how it goes. We'll go into our posts database table and see how that goes. We have ID, title, author, content, and a category ID. So we will also pass in a category ID. We'll call that pcat. Now we need to add a pcat variable in our function call. So we'll just call a variable called pcat, and we'll set it equal to 1 by default because that is our general category, which is what we have set up in the previous section. We will go to our add post page, and we will add a drop-down box for each of our categories. And this will be the harder part of this. We're going to have a label for post cats, just like that. We'll call it category and that label. Make a select, give it a name of post cats. Indent that a little bit. And so now that we have this, what we're going to do is we're going to create a SQL call here, which is called a query, and we're going to get all of the categories in the categories database, and we're going to list them here as list item options. When a user selects one, it will pass as the variable into our function, and that will serve as a category ID for our users to edit. So we're going to add a PHP bracket here, and we'll say MySQL underscore query. Actually, we'll say up here result equals MySQL query select all from categories. And then we'll call a for each statement. result as, we'll call it cat, and we'll say MySQL underscore fetch underscore assoc, which basically just grabs an associative array of all of the parameters returned by this function. And if you're wondering what an associative array is, it's we'll have a row in an array, and then that row will have all of the parameters available for the table. For example, a category title, the category ID, things along those lines. And so within this for method, we're going to have we'll create an option with a value equal to the post with the equal to the category ID, just like that. And then we'll end that like that. And then we will give it in between the two option tags, we will echo the category name so the user has something to go on. So we'll say echo cat, I believe it's category underscore name. We'll double check our database to be sure. So we'll go to our database, categories, and it's just under there is title, not category name. Okay. So quick rundown of this page. These will input a post name, a post author, the content of the post, and a category for that post. And when they select a post here, when they select in a category here, it will go to our doAddPost function, and we will pass in the post category, post variable, as our post cat parameter for our addPost function, which will then go to the database and add a post with the following categories and the other following information. Just like that. And so we'll start here. We will go to our added posts page and see if this works. Oops. Looks like we ran into an error. Individual arguments apply for each. Oh, this is what we will go to our add post, and we're going to reword this line here to be a for statement. So we'll say while result, or we'll say while cat equals MySQL underscore fetch underscore assoc result, we will do the following. Expects parameter. Oh, there's our issue. We're not connected to the database, so we can't make any queries. So we need to include our functions.php file in the top of this because it includes our connection.php file. So we'll just copy this line from our functions file and go back to our add post file and just pop this in at the top of the page up here. PHP. And we'll do it just like that. And if we go back to our page, now we have our categories in a drop-down box here. We can just select general or tutorials, and it will post to that particular category in our database. By default, we have general selected, so that way if it's not set, it will still pass into our database as the general category. So now that we have this done, we can go into our functions file and adjust our add category function. Or add post function, sorry. So we pass in the category, the content, post author, and the post name into our query. And if we are successful, a post should show up on the other end. So we will say test post 2 posted by JDoe, and this is some content for a post in the general category. So we click submit, and I think we did it. If we go back to the localhost/CMS, we see test post 2 by JDoe. This is some content for a test post. So our add function works successfully. So we're going to go through and add our edit function, which is essentially just our add function with an edit feel to it. When, as opposed to seeing our blank add form, they'll see this form with the information of the post already filled in, and that'll be relatively simple. So first, let's copy our addPost.php file, and we will open a new file. We'll call it editPost.php. Post this in here, and up at the top, we will add a PHP function for getting the results of our of whatever post we're editing. So we're going to pass in a post get variable called ID, which is the ID of the post we want to edit. We're going to take that variable and we're going to run a MySQL query to the database, which will return all of the current information on that post that will allow us to edit it. So we will say, let's call this query equals MySQL query select everything from posts where ID equals, and then we're going to break out and append, type an int here, and we'll ask for the get parameter ID. Just like that. And then actually let's bring this down so it's a little bit more readable. And then we will say result equals MySQL underscore fetch underscore the soch of query. And we'll change this result variable to post just for readability's sake. So now we're going to go through, and to all these inputs, we're going to basically add a value tag that has the post information in it. So we'll say value equals on the post name to PHP echo post, and we'll give it the post title. Simple as that. And to save ourselves some time, we'll just copy and paste this value attribute from this line down to the next several lines. So like the post author here. In between here, we can drop the value tag in the quotations, and we'll just replace it with the content attribute. And we'll leave the category box alone just for this tutorial's sake. I'm going to try and keep this under 30 minutes. In the next tutorial, we're going to go over some of the more advanced functions when we go over adding author specifics and category specifics for the editing and posting pages. So now we have our edit post page done. We're going to go back to our posts.php page and go down to where it says get posts, functions page, and we will see our function get posts. In here we created a link that will link us to our edit page right here. Since this has changed, we're going to change this to edit post.php $ID equals. And so if we go back here, refresh, and we click on edit this post, we can see all the content for this post, and we'll be able to edit it soon. So basically we just need to go through and create our edit post function. So in our edit post page, we're going to change the action to edit post, do edit post.php, and we will simply copy our do add post.php file because it's going to be practically identical. And we'll call it do edit post.php. We'll post that there. And in here we will, all these files are going to be the same, so we are just going to change add post to edit post. And under our functions.php file, we're going to find our edit category function Actually, no, we're not even going to find the edit category. We're just going to do it this way. So we will go to, right below our add post function, we'll make a function called edit post pname poff pcontent, and we'll set the default pcat, and we'll say equals null. So we're going to build a query, and we're going to say, we're going to create an if statement. So we're going to say if is set pcat. We're going to set the query to one. We're going to set our query variable to equal one query. If the category variable is not set, we're going to set it to something else. And this is basically going to give us some wiggle room for when we decide to add the more technical aspect to the edit post page, where it will hold the current category on the page, and we can change that. If it's not changed, then it won't return a value to the edit post page. So we're going to say query equals update posts set title equals, I'm going to say equal to pname, author equal to poff. We're going to set the content equal to p content, and lastly but not least, category underscore ID equal to pcat. And so we have our query here, and we're going to say where ID equals. We're going to append onto that again. We're going to cast it to an integer, and we're going to get the ID variable from our from up here. So we're going to include at the very end a variable called ID, and we're just going to go back to our edit post page, or do edit post, sorry, and we will pass in a variable called post ID, and then we're going to go back to our edit post page, and we're going to add a hidden variable right up here, and we'll say input type equals hidden, name equals ID, value equals PHP brackets echo get ID. So now we have our post ID, and if we go to functions, it should update our database depending on the ID passed in here. We're going to basically just edit this query for the else statement, because if the category is not set, we're just going to drop this category section altogether and leave the rest. And then down here, we will simply say MySQL query. And now we can save this, go back here, refresh this page, and we'll add an S to the end of there, and we'll say Melvin Walls. Here we click submit. This is a test posts by Melvin Walls. Our changes have been applied. Now that we have our add and edit functions done, we are going to add a simple delete function, and we will be able to wrap up this tutorial. So if we go here to delete posts, we already have the function set. We pass in an ID variable, delete from posts, where ID is equal to our ID variable, or die. And then we'll relocate to our posts.php. So now we just need to, oh, look, it appears our delete post function is already created. We created this towards the beginning of the tutorial. We have a page called delete.php, which is linked to in the link created in our get posts function right here. Delete.php ID equals post ID. And by doing that, we will delete a post from the database. So if we go here and refresh, we should be able to delete test post 2. And it's gone. So now we have a nearly fully functional website where we can add posts, edit posts, delete posts,
as well as categories. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I will see you in the next part where we start to add some more advanced authoring functions and improve the editing function of the posts.